Welcome back to the Daily Drop. Got Anthony Georgiades here for round two. Okay, I'm going to ask this question again. I asked you before the break. You were starting to have this brilliant answer. I was like, oh my God, I am not cutting him off. We're going to just do that whole thing again. Okay, so we're talking about interoperability, and I was asking about blockchains, how they all work together. And then we talk about layer zeros, right? Which is this idea that you're uniting all of these blockchains, right? I don't know. The idea is, I guess you're under all of them, right? Layer zero to unite all the blockchains, or a super Voltron of blockchains. But it just seemed to me that was like somewhat of a centralization, and centralization is obviously frowned upon. And you were starting to correct me in a brilliant way. So please do.
Yeah, so definitely a few different concepts to unpack there. But first and foremost, in the construct of interoperability, the idea that multiple blockchains are sort of communicating with each other in a symbiotic fashion, depending on how interoperability is achieved. And as we just discussed, there's certain ways that you can do it in a centralized fashion via bridges. There's certain ways you can do it in trustless fashion via cross-chain messaging protocols and things of the nature. But to your point, the reason why it's important is if you have disparate layer one blockchains that are operating completely decentralized, and remember, right, every single blockchain has its own value proposition, but also comes with its own trade-offs. So in the case of certain layer ones, you might have an extremely high throughput, super fast block time, and you can have hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. But with that comes a trade-off where you might not necessarily be able to store as much data on that particular blockchain. So in the case of an NFT, for example, if you want to be able to transact super fast on, let's say, Solana, the data that underlines the NFT has to live on a different network. And in that particular case, in order to actually maintain the ethos of decentralization, every single aspect of the value chain needs to be living and hosted on some sort of decentralized network. On the flip side as well, certain of these blockchains have different user bases, different ecosystems, et cetera, associated with them. So if I'm a decentralized application, I might want to be able to actually tap into the underlying ecosystems, to the underlying development mindshare, the underlying features or functionality that different blockchains can offer, just based off of how I'm actually trying to enter the Web3 market with a specific dApp. So in that particular confine, interoperability is not degrading the broader decentralization and the ecosystem as much as it is actually just ensuring that various disparate decentralized ecosystems can interact into perpetuity without necessarily sacrificing any of those specific pillars.
Dude, do you have a book or something? Like, what the hell? You're so smart. It's awesome. But okay, so here's the reason I bring it up too, right? Because security is an issue, right? With interoperability. It's not like everything is perfect, right? Like specifically with hacks, right? Many hacks are happening at the bridge level, right? So first, can you actually explain what a bridge is for our audience?
Mm-hmm. So a bridge is effectively a way to transfer either an asset like a token, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it might be, from one blockchain to the other. And it can, again, either be an asset or a piece of data, information, whatever it might be, the state of the actual blockchain itself, the weather, right? The time, the stock ticker, right? So basically, bridges have sprung up as a quick hack, obviously the hacks that we've seen, but as a quick way to basically achieve interoperability. Because decentralization is hard. Centralization is easy. So if I have two decentralized networks and I want to get them to talk, I could basically create some sort of centralized bridge that enables me to basically wrap one asset from one blockchain to the other.
But okay, I want to push back a little bit though on that, right? Because yes, they do provide some interoperability, but disproportionately, we're seeing hacks happening at the bridge level, right? Like, how can interoperability more effectively prevent these bridge hacks?
So think back what we said on the last segment. In the short term, we've seen a sacrifice of decentralization to basically achieve these centralized bridges. Every hack that we've seen so far in the bridge world has nothing to do with the underlying integrity of the blockchain or decentralization itself. It has to do with failures at both the centralization level, the security level, and honestly, the hardware key management level as well.
You know what, Anthony? I think that's pretty clear. We're going to go to break. There's just dude, I need like a 57-hour show with you because this is not enough time. I've got Anthony Georgiades here on the Daily Drop.